The Rosicrucians are a secretive, mystical organization that has captured the imagination of many for centuries. With roots tracing back to the early 17th century, the group is intertwined with the mystical and esoteric traditions of alchemy, Gnosticism, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. The Rosicrucian movement has been shrouded in mystery, with its teachings influencing a variety of thinkers, from philosophers to scientists, and inspiring countless works of literature, art, and occult practices. But who exactly are the Rosicrucians, and what do they stand for? The origins of the Rosicrucian Order are most commonly attributed to a series of manifestos that appeared in the early 1600s, the most famous of which is the Fama Fraternitatis, published in 1614. The manifestos were written by an anonymous author, but they outlined the core beliefs of the Rosicrucian movement, claiming to represent a secret brotherhood of enlightened individuals who had rediscovered the ancient wisdom of Egypt, Greece, and the mystical traditions of the Middle Ages. According to the manifestos, these teachings were meant to bring about a spiritual awakening in Europe and ultimately the world. The name Rosicrucian is believed to derive from the Latin word rosa, rose, and crux, cross, thus symbolizing the union of the material and spiritual worlds. The rose is often associated with the unfolding of the mystical, while the cross represents the material, physical plane. Together, the rose and cross symbolize the balance between the physical and spiritual, a concept central to Rosicrucian philosophy. The Rosicrucians were not a monolithic group, but rather a movement that attracted individuals who were interested in the mystical and alchemical traditions. These individuals were often highly educated and had a deep interest in science, philosophy, and spirituality. They were practitioners of alchemy, which at the time was seen not only as a precursor to modern chemistry, but also as a means of spiritual purification and enlightenment. Through alchemical practices, the Rosicrucians sought to transmute base metals into gold, but more importantly, they believed in the spiritual transmutation of the soul, a process that would lead to personal enlightenment and a deeper understanding of the divine. One of the most influential elements of the Rosicrucian movement was the Rosicrucian Manifestos themselves. These manifestos were not only declarations of the order's beliefs, but also calls to action for those who sought spiritual knowledge and self-improvement. They espoused ideas that were considered radical for their time, such as the rejection of rigid religious dogmas, the importance of scientific inquiry, and the belief that spiritual and intellectual awakening could lead to the betterment of society. Though the Rosicrucians were often linked to alchemy, they also shared ties to other mystical traditions, including Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and Christian mysticism. These traditions emphasized the importance of hidden knowledge and the pursuit of spiritual truths that went beyond the surface appearance of things. For the Rosicrucians, the true essence of life could only be understood by those who had the eyes to see beyond the physical world, a concept that was deeply embedded in their teachings. Despite its early influence, the Rosicrucian movement faced persecution and skepticism from both religious authorities and secular governments. The Catholic Church, in particular, viewed the Rosicrucians as a threat to its authority and condemned their teachings. In the centuries that followed, the order's activities became increasingly secretive, and many of the original members vanished into the shadows of history. However, the movement's ideas continued to permeate Western thought, influencing thinkers during the Enlightenment and beyond. In the 18th and 19th centuries, several organizations and secret societies, such as the Freemasons and the Theosophical Society, incorporated Rosicrucian elements into their own teachings, perpetuating the legacy of the movement. Today, the Rosicrucian legacy persists, albeit in a more modern and organized form. The ancient and mystical order Rosicrucis, founded in the early 20th century, is one of the most prominent contemporary organizations that claims to continue the traditions and teachings of the original Rosicrucians. Amorc emphasizes personal transformation through the study of spiritual practices, philosophy, and esoteric knowledge. While the movement has become more accessible in the modern world, many of the core principles of the Rosicrucians remain unchanged. The quest for knowledge, personal enlightenment, and the fusion of science with spirituality continue to be central tenets of the Rosicrucian path. The idea of hidden wisdom, passed down through generations of enlightened individuals, remains an important part of the group's allure, attracting seekers who are interested in exploring the mysteries of the universe. In conclusion, the Rosicrucians were pioneers of mystical thought, blending alchemy, science, and spirituality in their pursuit of a deeper understanding of life and the cosmos. Their teachings have had a lasting influence on Western esoteric traditions, from the development of modern science to the evolution of spiritual practices. While the original Rosicrucian movement may have faded into history, its ideas continue to inspire individuals seeking a path to enlightenment and the discovery of hidden truths.